I've been criticizing Bernie the last few days. Still love him, but, you know, if you're looking for Bernie headquarters who's never going to criticize him and has his head up his ass, that's not me. But Bernie went on Seth Meyers last night. Seth asked him, you know, what are you doing? Are you in? Are you out? Can you still win? Let's look at what Bernie Sanders had to say.
Which is, I think, a question a lot of people in the Democratic Party are asking. Do you still see a path to the nomination? Obviously, you're behind the delegates. It looks like a very hard path. And if not, why are you remaining in the race?
Well, we're about 300 delegates behind. Biden has 1,200. We have 900. There is a path. It is admittedly a narrow path. But I would tell you, Seth, that there are a lot of people who are supporting me. We have a strong grassroots movement who believe that we have got to stay in order to continue the fight, to make the world know that we need Medicare for all, that we need to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, that we need paid family and medical leave, one of the crises that we're dealing with right now, that we must address climate change and education, all the issues that we have been talking about. Campaigns are an important way to maintain that fight and raise public consciousness on those issues. So that's, I think, one of the arguments for going forward.
You know, I think that Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders is 78 years old, right? So whatever decisions he has made on how he wants to do things, it's probably not going to change. It's probably not going to change at 78 years old. But riddle me this, Bernie. How do you win if you are no longer competing against the person beating you? How do you have a path if you are no longer making an argument against the other candidate? We could get into whether he's been too weak against Biden, which he has. You haven't said anything about Joe Biden in 2 weeks. Maybe people around you are saying now's not the time to go political. People are dying. Now's not the time to go against Joe Biden. I don't know when the time would be. You're down 300 delegates. You're not actually saying anything against Joe Biden at a time when Joe Biden is giving you opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to plant a seed of doubt in the remaining voters who have not voted yet. I think it's extremely, extremely unlikely that Bernie could win. He's down significantly. However, the only chance you have to win is to change the minds of people that have not yet voted in New York, in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, name the states that haven't voted. There's a lot of them. Over half the country has not voted. That Joe Biden is not up to the task. You don't have to say he's cognitively declining, but you can point out that he's not up to the task. All you need to do is show the video of Joe Biden.
And in order to avoid those very high numbers, we have to do at least several things. One, we have to depend on what the president's going to do right now. And first of all, he has to wait till the cases before anything happens. Look, the whole idea is he's got to get in place things that were shortages of.
You call it what you want. The guy's having a brain aneurysm on a daily basis. And you are not going at this guy? The guy, as millions of people are losing their health care right now. Millions of people are going to lose their health care tomorrow. Because most people, when you get laid off from your job, you keep your health care through the end of the month. Tomorrow's April 1st. Not an April Fool's joke. Millions of people are losing their health care tomorrow. Joe Biden, when asked about it yesterday, says, nah, single payer wouldn't help anything through this pandemic. Bernie Sanders hasn't said a word. Hasn't said a word. When it's like manna from heaven. This is the time. This is the moment. Not only to make the case for Medicare for all, but to make the case that this man, your opponent, Joe Biden, is willing to leave you without health care and willing to leave you to die if you get sick. He's saying, no, I'm still not going to. I would still not pass Medicare for all, even though this coronavirus pandemic is exposing the total inadequacy, the total immoral basis of our for-profit healthcare. The fact that you do not have a safety net in this country. You do not have a safety net in this country. If you get laid off, if you lose your job, if there's a health crisis where there's mass layoffs like we're experiencing right now, if and when, not if, but when the inferno comes your way, the inferno, climate crisis comes your way, and companies have to shut down just like right now, you're going to lose your health care then too. He's got opportunity after opportunity after opportunity right now to go at Joe Biden, and he's not taking any of it. There's a couple theories. One, he doesn't want to be looked at as negative. He doesn't want to be attacked for playing politics during a crisis. Which to that, I say, Bernie, they're going to attack you no matter what you do. You waking up in the morning, you're going to get attacked by the establishment. Whether you stay quiet and you don't attack Joe Biden or whether you go scorched earth. As Bernie does this, if you're not going to go against Joe Biden, then you should drop out, frankly. Because Joe Biden is giving you every single opportunity. He's basically begging you to go at him. He's begging you. And by the way, right now, this is from Politico. Workers of Amy Klobuchar, of Pete Buttigieg, who were ranting against Medicare for All, well, because of the coronavirus pandemic, they're without health care because they can't get a job in politics. This is from Politico. Take Wyatt Ronan. He was the New Hampshire Communications Director for Beto O'Rourke, and then he was the New Hampshire State Director for Deval Patrick. And in the wake of the state's primary, he was planning on moving to Washington to look for work, but it didn't happen. He's still in New Hampshire, sharing an apartment in Manchester, counting down the days remaining on the health care plan he had from the Patrick campaign. Health insurance, that's the scariest issue, more so than ever the work or a job. A former Bloomberg staffer. We know that Bloomberg screwed all his workers, told them they were going to have a job with health care through November, and then got laid them off because he's Michael Bloomberg, and what does he fucking care? Honestly, that's probably the biggest thing, said Anjan Mukherjee, who is Klobuchar's research director, referring to what he's hearing from more junior staffers from the campaign. Where will I get my health care? The article also referenced some workers for Pete Buttigieg. You know, he said, how dare you, Bernie Sanders, try to take away, rip health care out of the hands of the 160 million Americans who just love their health care so much. Well, right now, a lot of the workers for those empty shells, Buttigieg, Klobuchar, Bloomberg, they don't have any health care. What do you know? Right now is the best, largest opportunity for Bernie Sanders to make the case for Medicare for all, but also to make the case that Joe Biden is not for you. Joe Biden is willing to let you die. I'm not being dramatic. People die without health care in America all the time. Right now, Joe Biden is saying if I was president and millions of people were laid off during a health crisis that we do not know how long it's going to go, Anthony Fauci, the doctor that Trump has been using, the lead of the coronavirus task force, has said this could even come back in the fall. It might subside in a few weeks, but it could come back in the fall. Joe Biden is saying to all of America, if I was president and those people get fired because during a pandemic, no, you're not going to have universal health care. It's going to be through your employer. Okay, so what are you going to do for those workers who lose their jobs? Well, blah, blah, blah. I can't construct a complete sentence. So for those of you who don't like me criticizing Bernie, I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of Bernie Sanders, but if you're not going to go at Joe Biden, step aside. We don't need you just to make the case for Medicare for All. We need you to make the case against Joe Biden. And if this moment, that everything you have been screaming about for 5 to 7 years, you now have an audience beyond progressives. You have older people who might be more inclined to vote for Joe Biden in Wisconsin, in New York, in Pennsylvania, in the states that haven't voted, that are directly being affected by coronavirus and the pandemic. They might be thinking, wait a minute, why isn't there paid sick leave? They might be thinking, wait a minute, am I going to have my Social Security? Many of them still work. They're getting laid off. What about food and Meals on Wheels and SNAP programs that they rely on? They're all waiting for someone to take the mantle of leadership, and Joe Biden is not doing it. And frankly, because Bernie and Jane's reports say they happen to like the Bidens, and Biden was nice to him in the Senate, he refuses to go at him. Well, Bernie, I don't know what you need to go at him, but frankly, if you're staying in to keep pushing the message and get a more progressive platform, he wanted to stay in to make the Democratic platform more progressive, do us a favor and drop out. Because that progressive platform, they could put on that platform anything. If Joe Biden is elected, he's going to take that platform and he's going to wipe his ass with it, just like Hillary Clinton did. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.